You are watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftacademy.com. www.netsoftacademy.com.
Welcome back to AZ-500 Beginner Series. In this module, we are going to break down one of the most important part of cloud security, that is managing identity and access in Azure. So if you're ever wondered who can access what in your Azure environment, well, this module is for you. So let's get started. Here we can start with the basics, that is users, groups, and roles. In Microsoft Entra ID, user represent the person or services that need access to Azure. Groups help you organize those users. For example, you can have a group called developers or HR team and assign access to the whole group instead of just one user at a time. Now, the roles define what someone can do once they have the access to that permission or privilege. For example, you can assign a role to a user called a global reader. That means this user now can have a read access on your whole environment. So in the most organizations, you will play around with users, user group, and roles all collectively. Now, let's talk about RBAC. That stands for Role-Based Access Control. This is one of the core tools in Azure for managing permissions. So when you talk about roles, this is what you will use. This mechanism will help you. With RBAC, you can assign, again, roles to a user, but as we discussed, you can assign it to a group, as well as even a service principal at different scopes. Now, this can be a subscription, or the scope can be a resource group, or you can even assign this at a single resource level. Here's a quick example. If you give someone the virtual machine contributor role at the resource group level, then they will be able to manage all the VMs in that resource group, but nothing else outside that resource group. Now, if you give someone virtual machine contributor role, the same role, but at the resource level, that means on just one virtual machine, in that case, the scope will narrow down to that particular machine. Now, this helps you to follow the principle of least privilege, which means you will only give people the access they actually need, and nothing more than that. Now, at this point, it is important to understand that Microsoft Entra roles and Azure roles are not the same thing. When you talk about Azure roles, these are used for managing access to Azure resources, like VM, storage account, and networking. This means your RBAC starts from management group, then the scope goes to subscription, then resource group, or then resources. So remember, RBAC starts from management group, subscription, resource group, and resources. On the other hand, your Entra roles, or you can say Microsoft Entra roles, manage directory level permission, or you can say tenant level permission, like resetting password, managing user attributes, or configuring conditional access, or any access you need over the tenant. So if you made someone global admin of the whole tenant, well, that person already have access over everything inside that tenant. So make sure that you use RBAC and Entra ID roles properly. Now, I can give you an example. Let's say someone with not global admin, with less privilege than that, let's say user administrator. You gave someone user administrator role. That means he can manage users in the directory. But that doesn't mean that you gave access to the resources to that person, unless you do it with RBAC or make him a global admin. Now, in this case, his scope is just managing user attributes, just a user portion. Rest, that person cannot touch anything. Now, when we talk about permissions, we can touch on a very important topic, that is PIM, P-I-M. That stands for Privileged Identity Management. Again, this is one of the most powerful tools for controlling high-level access. Here, PIM allows you to make roles just in time. So you use just-in-time concept, which means users do not have standing access all the time. Instead, they request access when they need it, and it can be given to them for a specific time window, only after the approval by the approver assigned by you. Now, this actually reduces the attack surface and helps prevent misuse of high-level permissions like global admin or contributor. With PIM, you can also track who activated the roles. And you can also see for how long they used it and why they used it, giving you much better visibility and control. So remember, logs are always maintained for auditing. Now, finally, we can talk about external identities, something you need to give access to users outside your organization. So whenever you want to give access to your outside users, like partners, consultants, vendors, or anyone else which is outside your Entra ID tenant, here you can use B2B collaboration, which allows you to invite external user as guest into your own Microsoft Entra directory. These users can sign in with their existing credential. They don't need a new account in your tenant. And you can also control what they can access using the same tools you've already covered. That is groups, roles, RBAC. You can use it with them. But just remember, guests are still users. So apply the same security principle like MFA and conditional access over them. Now, we can go to Azure portal and check out some of the services we discussed.
All right, now let's check out how you can create users, user groups, and also assign Entra ID level roles to that user, as well as RBAC, that is Role-Based Access Control. Plus, we will also see the functioning of PIM, that stands for Privileged Identity Management. So let's go to our Azure portal and then click on Entra ID. Let me maximize it and then click on Entra ID. Then click on Users. This is where you can create a new user. So click on New User, click Create New User, and enter the information. Now, some information is actually crucial, and you will see a red star here. So this is mandatory. So you have to put the UPN, user principal name, like test user number 2. Then a display name. And over here, you can enter your password, or you can let Azure auto-generate password for you. But in both cases, when this user logs in for the very first time, the password needs to be changed. And then click Next Properties. And this is where you will add your metadata. Then click on Assignments. And this is actually neat. Here you can add this user directly to a group or the administrative unit if it is configured. Plus, you can also add your roles here. Now remember, these roles are not your resource level roles. This is Entra ID or tenant level roles, or you can say admin roles. So if you want to make this user global reader, you can select that. And once you're happy with your configuration, then click on Create. The user will be created. Similarly, I have this user, as you can see, test user. Now, once you create a user, you can still edit the properties. So if you go on top and click Edit Properties, you can add the metadata here. For example, let's say I want to add job title, and I will, or department, I will say HR, and then save it. The information will be saved. Now remember that department equal to HR, this will come in handy. Now what if you want to create thousands of users? Well, you can also do bulk operation here. So if you go to users and then drop down this bulk operation menu and click on bulk create, here you will get a CSV template, that is comma separated value template. Well, it says optional because if you already have the template and you know how to configure it, then don't bother about this step, just upload it. Now I already have the template ready, so I will click on upload and I will show you the template as well. This is the template. So before selecting it, let me click on open. And that's it. This is the template. Here you will have some mandatory fields as well as some optional fields. The first 4 is required. That is your name, that is display name, UPN, password, and do you want to enable or disable the account. Rest, all of this is metadata. Now as you can see, the user is here, demo user 1 @ your domain, password, and no means I don't want to block the sign-in. So this account will be enabled. Now remember, in place of this domain name, you will enter your domain name. So if you have your registered domain name, just copy it from your Entra ID and paste it here. And once your CSV is configured and saved, just open it. And once you are ready to upload it, click on Submit. Now, this demo user 1 is already created. So let's see what error we get. So I will submit it. All right, as you can see, it failed because this user already exists. Now, what if I just delete this user? Gone. Oh, not download. Let's upload it again. So close it, bulk create, upload the file, and submit. So remember, this user is now deleted. It's gone. I refresh the page, it's gone. All right, as you can see, it succeeded. And if I refresh this page, the user will show up. And that's how easy it is to create the user in bulk. And what if you want to delete it? Well, in the same way, you can also bulk delete. So you will download the CSV, then you'll go to your CSV file which you just downloaded, open it, and over here you will put all the UPNs of those accounts you want to delete. Okay, so, and you should remove the example as well. So I will add the UPN of the user we created. So I will just copy it from here and go here, oh, not here, here, and paste it. Then you will save this file as a CSV file. So I will select CSV and I will call it demo user delete and save it. And that's it. Now you will push a bulk delete operation. So select that file. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. And submit. All right, so it succeeded. And if you can still find the user, just refresh the page and the user is gone. Now, let's see how we can create groups. So let's go to groups and you can click on new group here. Then you can decide, do you want a security group to which you can assign privilege and permission, or do you just want a distribution group? Let's say you want it for your shared email boxes. There are only two options. So I'll go with security group. Then I will give this group a name, demo G for group. And then you can decide, do you want to add or assign Entra roles to this user or not? Well, you can. If you say no, then you have other options. Here, instead of going for assign means, if I click here, now assign means that you as the administrator have to assign members to this group. If you say no, then you get two more options, dynamic user and dynamic devices. These are both same. One is for user and one is for devices. So what's the difference? Assigned means manual assignment. Dynamic means according to a condition, the assignment will be done automatically for you. So let's do a dynamic assignment because assigned is easy. You can just click on member here, find your member, select it, and the member is assigned. That's it. But we will not do this. We will do the dynamic one. So click on dynamic user then. And here you have to create a dynamic query. So what is dynamic query? Simple condition. If the condition is true, user will be assigned. If not, then the user will be removed if it is already assigned, or it will not be assigned in the first place. So let's do this. All right, so here you will select the properties. So there are so many properties. These are all the variables. I will select department. Now operator, all and any ends with. You can also put the suffix and prefix if you want, but in my case, it will be equal. Let's say HR. Once you create your rule, you can also evaluate it. So how to validate this rule? On top, if you click on validate rule, then you can add users and see if they actually qualify or not. So let me add the user test. Added, and myself as well. As you can see, this user is good and this user not so good because I am not in HR department. So once you're good with it, click on save. Remember, you're not adding users here. This is just for evaluation. So I added my dynamic query and click on create. And that's it. This is how easy it is to create a group. But remember, dynamic group can help you a lot, especially for a big environment when you want your management process to be a little streamlined or automated. Now, dynamic devices can also be very powerful when you are using Intune. Over there, all the devices, when they join the Entra ID and they register with Intune, according to the device configuration and also the metadata, they will go and join their respective groups. Okay, let's go to this group. All groups and demo group here. And let's see the members. As you can see, the member is still not here. Well, when you create a dynamic group, it takes time to evaluate and scan all the users. Eventually, your user will show up here. And here you go. Oh, here's your user. Now, what if this user property changes? Well, if this user moves to a different department, again, the evaluation will run and it will remove this user from the group. So let me go here and say not HR anymore, move to IT. Perfect. Let's go to group, demo group, and the user is still here. I can refresh. Again, the same logic. It takes time to evaluate your environment. Eventually, this user will be gone. So I will just keep refreshing. maybe after 5 minutes. All right, so this user is now gone. So this is how easy it is to, again, create an environment in which most of the common tasks will be automated for you. Now let's apply roles and privileges to this user. Well, if you go to Entra and then click on roles, this is where you can apply Entra ID level roles to this user. If you select, let's say, global administrator or reader, you just select that, okay? And then you can apply it. You just click on it and then click on add assignments and then search for that user you want to assign it to, or maybe the group. So test user and select, click next. Now here, do you want this user to be just eligible to get this role or active? Well, if you say eligible, this is where privileged identity management will kick in. But let's say I say active and permanently assigned. You can do that, give some justification, and click on assign. Done. Now, in this sandbox, I already logged in with that user account. So if I go to Entra ID, then click on Manage, Roles and Administrator, Global Reader, I can see myself there. Remember, I'm not a global admin, so I cannot assign anyone else privileges. But here you go, active assignment. Or if I go to PIM, Privileged Identity Management, this dashboard, this is where you will go to Task, click on My Roles. This user is not eligible for any role because there is one role which is properly active, permanently assigned. And these are all the expired assignments. Now this dashboard will come in handy. Now let's discuss PIM, Privileged Identity Management. Before that, let me remove this user again from this role. I have to wait for 5 minutes. Then I will remove it. And then we will go with PIM, Privileged Identity Management. All right, so it is now removed. No eligible assignment, no active assignment, nothing. Now, how will you use PIM? So you will go to PIM, Privileged Identity Management. And then instead of going to Task, you will go to Manage because now you are playing the admin role. So I will go to Manage and click on Microsoft Entra Roles. Now, Microsoft Azure shows the whole structure so clearly. So assign, activate, approve, and audit. These are the activities you will do. So let's do the assignment. So if I go to Manage again, not Task, Manage, click on Roles. I can find the role here. Again, Global Reader. Then add assignment, same structure, use that person, test account, select, next. Now, eligible, of course. Permanently eligible, not really. You can put a time frame, a time window, and assign. And that's it. Your part is done. Now let's go back to our PIM page. Now let's go back to the test user site. Now this user, I will refresh it, we'll go to again PIM. Right now this user has no privileges. So go to PIM and in this place, in this user's profile, you will click on Task and then click on My Roles. Active role, nothing. There is one eligible role though. And over here, click on activate. Now select the duration this user wants. Let's say I want this role for 2 hours. Reason, demo. And then click on activate. Now this role will be activated for 2 hours on this user. So this user can perform the task, do the job, and even though this user, let's say, logs out early, there's no worry. After 2 hours, this role will be removed automatically. Now the page will refresh. And now this test user is global reader. Here you go. Now if I want to remove it, like this user can do it himself. So deactivate. Duration is too short. I have to wait for 5 minutes. Now, I will wait for 5 minutes, remove it, then I will show you the last step. That is getting the approval first. So if you go back to the roles, Microsoft Entra ID roles, and go to global reader role, on top you will see the setting option. Click on it. Here you can configure the setting of this role as well, like how it will behave. So if you go down or click on edit, activation maximum duration you can set, let's say 3 hours, so that no one can go beyond 3 hours. It will be a hard cap, or whatever you want. Now, you can also say it requires MFA, or it requires the user to go to conditional access, and so much more. Now, assignment. Allow permanent eligible assignment. You can do that, or you can say no permanent assignment will be allowed at all for this role. And you can again set a hard cap of let's say 1 year, 6 months, whatever you want. Requires MFA on active assignments. Perfect. Plus, you can send notification to multiple users that this user just requested for a privileged role or activated a privileged role. Plus, if you go to activation again, go down, you can also select this option, require approval to activate, and you can put the approver here. I will put myself as the approver. Now, this enhances your security even to next notch. Click OK and update. All right, so this role is now configured. Refresh it. Now I will wait for 5 minutes. I will remove this, and again I will try to get this assignment. But at this time I have to request for it. Now I removed the privilege, so no active assignments. Let's go back to eligible assignment. Global reader is still there, and let's do the same step. Click on activate. Now I will say just give me 2 hours demo, and then click on activate. Your request is pending for approval. You will not get this privilege until unless the approver approves it. Let's go back. Now we will act like the admin. We'll go to our PIM and go to our task and click on approve request. Not my request. I have not requested anyone. So approve requests. Here you will see all the requests which are pending. Well, I'll select this and say deny if I want to do that, or approve. Again, even to approve it, I have to give justification, demo. And while doing all these steps, everything is logged properly so that you can audit it. And here you go. After some time, this eligible, oh, here you go. Not even after some time, it worked in like seconds. Now, if I want to remove it, again, I am the administrator. I have the power to do that. I will go to roles, click on assignments, and I'll say this user, just remove the assignment. Done. Again, you have to wait for 5 minutes, but you just can remove it right away.
All right, so let's quickly recap what we covered in this module. We covered that how you can manage users, groups, and roles in Microsoft Entra ID. How RBAC controls access to Azure resources. We also saw the difference between Entra roles and Azure roles. That is your RBAC and your Entra roles. And we also discussed about external identities. Now, remember, whenever you're working with Entra interface, you can actually use that backend infrastructure from multiple platforms. You don't have to log into Azure all the time. You can open your Entra Admin Center separately and configure it. You can go to M365 Admin Center. Still, you can create users and groups there. Even you can go to Intune, which is a separate service for a specific use case. Even there are some functionalities for Entra ID which you can control. Now, in the next module, we will cover Azure platform itself, covering things like network security, firewalls, just-in-time VM access, and much more. So don't miss out. Well, thanks for watching. If this video helped you, drop a like and subscribe to our channel. I will see you in the next video. Until there, take care.
Thank you for watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftacademy.com. www.netsoftacademy.com.